And it was one of those things where we went, well, of course, she'll do that, and then she'll take the walker and use the walker to lead her to the prison. In the original draft of the script, Tyree shows up and kills the walker immediately. And I remember Gail and I saying, no, wait, we have a great opportunity. Let her take the walker all the way to the prison. And so I used one of the guys on my crew to play that part so that I could use his head molds and build all the puppet pieces that we needed ahead of time. So that was challenging, but because I had an advanced opportunity to build it, it just kind of went off.
It's like a Goodfellas, like curb, like right in the teeth.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And again, what's funny is my episodes, I either get, like when Dale dies, I had one walker, and then in episode 5 we had the pits, and we had Merlin Martinez fighting with all the walkers in the arena area, and we had the walker that ate Lori with all the hair in its mouth. So we get a lot of good little bits and pieces, and in that episode with Andrea was like 2 walkers.
Yeah. But the thing is, people refer to Greg as a effects wizard. What they don't know is that he's actually a wizard.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Greg Nicotero is the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Why do you think I'm growing this?
Now that Harry Potter's over,
Harry Potter.
What do you mean Harry Potter's over? Haven't you been to Pottermore? And then Chris Hardwick got freaked out for some reason.
What's Pottermore?
It's the awesome website, dude, where Harry Potter lives on. And you can get sorted. I'm a Ravenclaw.
Oh my God.
The Ravenclaws are the nerds, the Gryffindors are the jocks, let's be honest. But speaking of England, Andy Lincoln... I know, thank you.
Me and David Morrissey are the only 2 English actors that haven't appeared in Harry Potter.
I think you've been a little busy though, right?
Yeah, I'm furious
Oh,
about
wow.
it.
I think a nice little
You've got
crossover
very
would
strong
be...
hands, by the way. Yeah. I've only just noticed that. Sorry.
And Andy and I had a nice chat earlier. We did some stuff for Talking Dead, and it was this really lovely chat about how, like, if this were a movie, the characters would kind of seem superhuman, and it would sort of be like Bourne Identity. But the fact that Rick is going through all of these emotional problems and his brain is breaking, it's like the humanity is really incredible this season with him, and he's supposed to be the leader.
Yeah, I think that was, it's brilliant being in the show, because you do change, like all of the characters change, and certainly one of the big attractions when I first, spoke to Frank about it was that you start in one place, and you end in a completely different one. And this journey I've had this season has been incredible, and to push one of the central characters off the cliff edge is really bold for you guys to do, and it's thrilling to play. I mean, I love it, and but I am sort of running out of mad gags. So hopefully I will come back from the brink soon.
What do you think is going on with, like, what is it that Rick is seeing when Laurie has appeared? What is it that he's seeing? Is it guilt, or is it comfort? Or...
Yeah, I think it is. I read, I was trawling the internet about this and going, and yeah, not that kind of trawl. Oh God, you guys, man. And it was actually about grief and people seeing ghosts in the first year of bereavement, and it is quite a common occurrence that people, their brains sort of the spaces that are left by the people are replaced by their brain, and it's quite a common thing in the corner of their periphery to see loved ones. And so that's kind of the only way that I sort of hooked into it, really. I just went, well, that's what he's doing. That's all his brain's short-circuiting and just going, she's here. But certainly I think guilt is a huge part of this guy. I mean, Lou said it. Lou, he just said he puts himself up on a cross. He can't let himself off the hook. And it's one of his great heroic strengths, but it's also his Achilles as well.
How do you think Rick is taking Carl sort of evolving very quickly and basically saying, I don't think he should be leader anymore?
Well, I mean, he needs a firm hand.
Yeah, but the hand that Carl has like a 357 in it. So
Yeah.
There is that. Yeah, I mean, he has a point though. I mean, I have been making some terrible calls recently. So, you know, bless him.
So
I love him
weird to
dearly, but
hear
it's
him in that
not going the
voice.
right way. Parenting in the apocalypse. Who
That's
needs
the
it?
other series we're planning, Parenting in the Apocalypse.
Parenting, yeah. It's like Parenthood, but with zombies.
Right.
And everyone dies. I mean, do you sort of see? Does Rick agree that he may not be capable to lead at the moment, or do you think he's still trying to hold?
I think after that scene, it definitely puts him into a different gear, and he realizes, you know, to be called out by your son is pretty, you know, tough at the best of times. Although my son is 3 and he's called me out many times.
I don't think you should be the leader of this family, everyone.
But yeah, I do think it is a pivotal moment, and he realizes he's got to, you know, step up at this point. But something happens in this episode this weekend, that really holds a mirror up to Rick, and he realizes that, and I think it is a turning point, and he starts to realize that he has to come back from the wilderness.
Yeah, there are some episodes I know that you watch that are, you know, people heavy or zombie heavy or battle heavy, and I did get to see 312 ahead of time, and it is such a lovely episode. Like, just the way that it plays out and the way that it kind of wraps up. It's a really beautiful episode that you guys are going to see in a couple of days. But I want to talk to Norman a little bit about getting Merle back, which is tremendously exciting. Merle is kind of he's a survivor, right? He doesn't really care where. He just wants to survive somewhere.
He's kind of like your drunk uncle at a Christmas party.
Yeah.
Happens to have an arm blade.
Yeah, I love the way Rooker plays Merle. I love it because he's kind of like this cobra. Like, you don't know when he's going to strike, and you know, he's in my family and he's my cobra. You know, but he plays it in this way where there's a sensitivity to him, which I'm trying to play as well. But I mean, there's reasons why people fight. You know, like, people fight to protect someone or to prove a point. But I think the Dixon brothers fight because they've always had to fight. Like, their backs have always been up against a wall. So you can see that there's a sensitive side to both of them. And I can see it in Merle, especially with what's coming up. Like, but it gives him reason to be who he is, which is really interesting. You know?
I have to admit, I may have gotten a little choked up when you guys were arguing in the woods, and Merle said something like, that Chinese guy, and you're like, he's Korean. I'm like, oh my God. He stood up for you. He always stood up for you.
I mean, that whole storyline, Daryl's becoming the man he never would have become if this tragedy didn't happen, you know? And having people rely on him for the first time is sort of giving him a sense of self-worth, and that's something that I think makes his brother real jealous. Something that his brother wants, but is never gonna get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you think, at this point in the show, up to what people have seen, do you feel like Merle can be trusted? I mean, deep down, does Daryl really feel like Merle can be trusted?
He hopes.
That's actually a hairstyle.
You know, I mean, he
he
knows there's good in his brother. But then again, you know, he's trying to kill half the people up on the stage. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my brother. You know what I mean? You know,
I'm not even on the show and he tried to kill me. I swear.
he did, I did. But, you know, I think he hopes. You know.
Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about Michonne, because it was funny. We did a panel a few weeks ago, and I was talking about Michonne being kind of like stoic and a little cold, and afterwards you come up and you go, I don't think you get Michonne, and I'm like, don't hit me. But watching her arc the last few weeks is like you're really seeing her kind of settle in, and you're really seeing her humanity as well. I mean, how do you see her having developed so far?
Yeah, I think it's actually been a really it's been a very interesting journey. I mean, going into the last few episodes was very interesting because she was having to let go. I mean, really, when she was used to being very protected in a very particular way, and it had allowed her to be a very formidable in her realm, and but stepping into wanting to become a part of this community and not going off and finding 2 extra pets. But going back and saying, I want to be a part of this group at the prison is also, it's about having to really start connecting with people again and going through a healing of, the parts of herself that have caused her to be that cut off. And so, yeah, it's like, it's been very interesting to allow that to start happening and see that happen. And it's really something that Rick kind of demands of her. He's like, you can't hang here and be this truculent all the time.
The exchange that Michonne and Andrea had in the previous episode, where you kind of see, it seems like Michonne was hurt by the fact that Andrea chose Woodbury over their friendship.
Oh yeah, she was. She did not.
It seems really weird that Andrea just totally kicked their entire friendship aside.
Okay, so in Michonne's mind, I guess.
For the governor of Woodbury.
Yeah.
Andrea loves Michonne.
No, and that's what the pain. That's where the pain is. I think there is so much love there, and I think in Michonne's mind, she does see it that way. She does see that she chose this place and this man over her. And I think for Michonne, it really was about finally having that conversation and seeing that lands on her, like what happened. I think that allows Michonne to actually really start to heal from the pain that did cause her.
Lori, does Andrea think Michonne is just is lost it, or do you think she feels like she can still salvage the friendship?
Here we go.
You should see these doe eyes she just gave me. She's like batted her eyelashes, like, oh yeah. Here's the deal. No, this is very important. Andrea and Michonne are 2 adult women who wanted different things. And Andrea did not choose a guy over her. I think Andrea, after 8 months, she wanted a life and she wanted community.
Yeah.
And, I think this one, I think that we could have ended up anywhere and she would have been unhappy. And... Yeah. Okay.
No, okay. So yeah, now she admits it, but she's a misanthrope, and I think that she didn't want to share Andrea with anybody. I think she was happy when it was just the 2 of them, and I wish that they really had been able to have a conversation deeper and fuller before Michonne left those gates, because Michonne chose to leave, Andrea chose to stay. Nobody abandoned the other person. There were 2 adult women that made a decision. So it breaks my heart. It breaks Andrea's heart when she sees Michonne and she hears what happened to her, and that Philip went after her, and it just is like, oh my God, because it's the best friend that Andrea ever had. I think in Michonne's mind, I think it's a lot to do with loyalty. It's got a lot to do with that for her. So it's really how they're seeing things differently.
Well, I just think that Michonne needs to realize that Andrea has to be shared with the world. Y'all can just figure it out. I don't really get it.
There's some codependency.
I love the fact, by the way, that you call him Philip is that's very specific. That's so specific to you kind of knocking the whole governor figurehead thing out of the way and being like, you're a person, your name's Philip, and I'm going to call you Philip.
Oh, and there's a time where I won't even call him that.
It's pretty weird to call someone the governor in bed.
Oh.